Okay, I want to delve a little further into the cage system now. This is lesson 3, and we're going to take these caged chords and these caged shapes, and I'm going to show you how you can take one chord and play that chord using all 5 of the different shapes. For this example, I'm going to play a C chord. I'm going to start with what we called a C shape C chord. Okay? Then I'm going to move up and play what you might think of as a C bar chord. But I want you to understand, I want you to realize this is the A-shaped chord played as a bar. Okay? But it's still a C chord. It's got the same notes as the other C chord, just in a different place on the neck. Our next chord up the neck is the G shape, but where I've moved it right now all the way up here to where this finger is at the 8th fret, this is a C chord, a G-shaped C chord. Okay? This one's pretty tricky to play. In a second, I'm going to show you a variation on this fingering. I don't ever play this. Some people play these things with capos, but I want you to understand them for many different reasons as if they were bars. Okay? The next shape, remember, notice we're going in caged order up the neck. C, A, G, E, D. We did the C shape, we did the A shape, we just did the G shape. The next one is our E shape. Notice it has the E shape right here. Okay? At the 8th fret, it's a C chord. Okay? We're talking about caged. We've done 4 of them. We got 1 to go. The D chord, the D shape. If I play a D chord and I slide it way up the neck to a certain place, wherever this note ends up, if I get it on my C note, which it is right there, that's a D-shaped C chord. I'm going to play it with these fingers so I can reach back here and grab the bass note for this one. Okay, so that's a D-shaped C chord. So notice we went up the neck, C shape, A shape, G shape, E shape, D shape, and then it would start over again if I continued up the neck. There's a C-shaped C chord, so it starts to repeat over here. All right? It seems like you might not need to know this kind of stuff, but it's going to come in. It's going to come into play for you. These shapes are going to come into play in chord voicings when you start to play cooler sounding chord progressions, and it's going to come into play when you're playing lead guitar. Okay? So you want to know that whole thing we just did, the caged system, and also you want to understand that they always go in that order, C, A, G, E, D. It's pretty cool. All right? In this example, exercise 2, I want to show you the variation on that G shape I played. The G chord shape is very hard to finger. I don't use this. It's just really very hard to clamp those down. But what we will do, and it's very common in a lot of songs, is I'm going to keep the bar. In this case, it's at the 5th fret. I'm going to replace this finger with my pinky. My pinky's actually leaning on and deadening the 5th string, so I'm just going to strum those 4 strings. And there's a really common riff that goes along with this, where I'm going to play that chord, and then I'm going to put these 2 fingers, and see how they're kind of hovering right exactly in the shape I need them for. Imagine them coming down as like sort of the top part of a C shape. And listen to this. And then back. You've certainly heard that before. That kind of riff, real roots rock, real cool Rolling Stones kind of stuff. And this is how it's done. Okay? So you want to get used to this situation here. Remember, it's based on the G shape, but I'm using the pinky to get the bass note and just the bar, and then over here I'm throwing in those extra couple of notes. Okay, exercise 3, I want to take those same 5 caged chord positions, and I want to move them up and down the neck, but this time I'm going to play them as an arpeggio, which means I'm playing them 1 note at a time. I'm going to pick 1 note at a time. All right? You want to get used to this for a bunch of reasons, and one of them is lead guitar playing, but there are others. Okay, so if I start out with my C-shaped C chord, my arpeggio is... Okay? When I move up here, I'm now playing my A-shaped C chord. The arpeggio, you would think it would just be the notes I have my fingers on, but there's an extra note we need to play if we're really truly playing all the notes in a C chord. So I'm going to start with my second finger. My first finger is going to catch this note at the second fret, and then I'm going to bar with my third finger like I was doing with the bar chord. Okay? You want to get used to playing that arpeggio back and forth. Okay, my next C chord is the G shape, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to start out, remember the way I showed you that alternate way of playing the chord, I'm going to start out with my pinky here to play the arpeggio. It just works out easier. Okay? I'm actually adding a note here with my pinky. It's a commonly added note. Next we have our E shape. This one, the arpeggio includes every single one of those notes, and one extra note is going to be right over here at the 7th fret. So I'm going to have to start with my second finger and go. Okay, you want to get used to playing these things back and forth like this. Okay, my next shape up the neck was the D shape, and so here we go. And then what happened, we repeated with the C shape. Remember, it came around C-A-G-E-D, and then C comes back in. So way up here. So there are your caged chords played as arpeggios. It's something you want to work on.